Go. Hey, Jim, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Oh, great. All right. How's everyone doing on this Saturday morning, evening, wherever you are? Yeah, could be afternoon too. Very good point. GM amigos. How you doing, Nadio? Is anyone watching the World Cup? I think that's going on right now, right? It's everyone's talking about it here in China. So, like, I don't really watch it, but a lot of my friends are watching it. I'm sure that Nadio, you guys going hard over there in Ecuador? NBA Finals. Okay. Football. Yeah. I didn't know they had the NBA Finals and the World Cup at the same time. It seems like kind of a bad idea to have like two competitions at the same time. But I guess America is not really into soccer that much, so maybe it's not an issue. Nice. It's a hydration break. The programmer in me is like reading that so differently. So must be a sports thing, right? Like when we were like when I used to play soccer, they would like we'd eat oranges. Yeah, okay. Any good ads today, in the World Cup or the NBA Finals? That's more like a football thing, I guess. Maybe. Super Bowl ads. Anyway, well, let's get to it, friends. The DAO call kicked off here. I made some progress this week on open sourcing some things, but I ran out of codecs as well about halfway through the week. I was kind of limited on that, but I am making some progress on the Gotchiverse. There's so much to do on the repos, but yeah, making some progress on those. That's the biggest update from my side. And I know there were some discussions in the transition thread, kind of people asking about. See, I just review it here. Nestor made a sig prop, which is cool. So I'm sure we'll talk about that. And anything else really going on? Yeah, we can probably jump into the DAO call.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, nice. First try. All right, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what you get. No Future was talking trash last week. He's like, "Oh, Face always has problems. Look, Discord worked for the first time." Yeah, nice.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess first things first. We have a couple of proposals that are right. The impossible has happened. We have a couple of proposals that are about to end this week, so they'll be over before our next call. First of which is, and I meant to ask Nestor about these too. I had a little bit of a talk with him on in the DMs just about what it means if these things don't pass. But the first one being the sig prop for the treasurer office role. So Maxi Crouton posted this a while back, almost a month ago at this point. And it's basically, he's trying to be re-elected for his position as the sole treasurer of the DAO. overwhelming yes right now, 84% in favor, but it's only at 3.9 million quorum. So that's about, wait, let me just, yeah, it's at 54% quorum with 3 days left. So, I mean, it's not looking great, to be honest. And then we have the SIG props that he put up for the treasury management proposal for stablecoins and ETH, arrow and reward token conversion framework, and there's a poll for the arrow and reward token conversion framework. All of these are also at around 50%. The first one's at 50, got one at 55, one at 56. I mean, the 56% one is a poll, so that's just getting a temp check from the DAO. But the other ones, yeah, they're actual SIG props, all at around 50%. Then you got the new DAO facilitator role term that was posted by me on behalf of myself and Roxiano. Ends in 3 days with 46% quorum right now. So that doesn't look like it's going to pass either. And then we have the elect DAO facilitators with a realistically reduced pay rate by Al. Ends in 5 days, 43% quorum reached. So he has a little bit more time on that, and that there is, I mean, a lot more support for that one with 88% in favor. So, I mean, I don't know what to make of that. Honestly, the opinions have been heard, and we all know what it's kind of about. There is some issues that I have with the way that was written, but like Al's not even here, so I don't know if it's worth talking about. But basically, that there was a third. It said, should either individual not be able to perform their duty? So this is supposed to be for 2 DAO facilitators instead of 4. And it's just saying if neither of them should be able to perform their duties on any given week, the third most voted person will act as an emergency fill-in and be paid for each meeting they host. Which is, I mean, I don't think it's very well thought out, just because who's this third person who's not going to get hired for a job, but just be on standby for an entire year, on the chance that one of the 2 facilitators can't make it. I mean, I guess it can be edited, but whatever. The main focus would be for the to host an election for 2 facilitators. Yeah, and I mean that's where we're at as far as proposals go. So if you haven't voted, I mean, you could help potentially push that one up a little bit, and I would also recommend looking at the. I mean, you have to scroll down just a little bit. It's past some of the polls, but it's right there. The SIG props from Maxi and his polls as well. I see Nestor. Nestor, you're here. Hi. How's it going, sir? You want to test your mic? Go to Dan. You got a hot mic, by the way.
Yeah.
You're clicking.
Oh,
You're free to it, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
Test.
Hey,
1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hey, Nestor. How's it going? Welcome.
Hi. Hello, FaZe. Hello, Conan. Hello, guys. Yeah, it's good. Sunny here, and yeah, we are looking forward to the matches tonight. Me and my son. That's at midnight and
nice.
even later. So all good. When it's soccer, World Cup. Yeah, you mentioned it. I just thought maybe the most necessary proposal would be really the quorum. The quorum proposal to as quickly as possible, because we need like an old quorum for make that a reality. So as to have the option to have different quorum tiers. So I guess I will post that as quickly as I can. That would be my intention now for the next yeah, hours or days, because we already made a lot of polls about that, and
Exactly.
yeah, so we also talked about it, us two, you and me, some weeks back. So I think there has been enough discussion. There has been the appetite, and now we are really seeing also practically the necessity, because it's like very difficult to reach quorum, even with such important topics as the multi-sig signer election. That, as you remember, it was necessary to prolong the
Repost,
voting
right?
time several times. And now also, that's also, like you brought it up in our conversation, um, it's an essential role. You already stated that, right? So, non-regarding that, yeah, we have to think about and change, maybe not like radically or too deeply, but at least open up a second, I would say, a second tier, second quorum tier, for like necessary proposals, that, yeah, and I would say it could be something like a fixed number, not necessarily the percents, because they are changing, and yeah, I will, I will, I will look into that. And
Excellent. Okay. The
okay,
thing we did last time was we went through some of the questions on in that questionnaire that you made, right? And I think it's like we're in a really unique time right now that, I mean, in the last probably year, we've already been facing kind of quorum issues. It's this repeating theme. We keep seeing it over and over again, but each time almost seems like for different reasons. But now we're like in this unique situation with this like IP transfer and all that.
yeah,
So on one hand, you think perhaps there will be more DAO participation in certain aspects. We have seen that that's the case, like just in the discussion of people kind of saying, okay, what needs to happen now? What is going to happen now? So there is kind of like, in a way, there's a bit more participation, but at the same time, like it's not really being reflected in the votes. But as we've been saying again for like at least the last year, there's this way of almost like instigating discussion or actual like alternatives to some of the stuff that's discussed on these calls as soon as a proposal gets posted. So like sometimes it takes for a proposal to actually appear on the snapshot, where somebody will come in and have a direct response to either the language in that, or even be made aware of it for the first time if they're not listening to the calls or paying attention to any of the discussion that's happening across the channels. You know what I mean?
yes,
So
absolutely. I
yeah,
also,
I would
in this
go ahead.
example, the
Sorry.
last example, yeah, also, yeah, it's like you have to have something to work with to see, to be able to think about it. That's like, otherwise it's too abstract. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got this for the. I mean, one example is just the facilitators itself. So we did the repost. I was okay with waiting it out because everything seemed very uncertain, and I was just like, whatever, we'll continue to do the job and then figure it out, kind of like how we did last time when we renewed. That's what happened. We had a proposal up for re-election. It failed, but in the meantime, we kind of just kept doing the job, kind of thing. And then we're like, well, if it's made official that this thing isn't going to exist anymore, then so be it. But in the meantime, like, let's just keep doing it. We talked about it several times on the calls, but you could argue that there weren't that many people here, so they probably didn't know about the discussion. Roxiano kind of sent me a draft. She's like, can you post this? I don't know if she had access to the snapshot or not. It got posted, and it kind of like revitalized the discussion. It made a bunch of people, new people, chime in with like opinions, and within a couple hours, like we saw a competing proposal. So it's like, that's good. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what you have to like force it in a way. at this point, at least. Maybe in the future, when they're, the direction is more like solidified and there's things in place, then we can maybe the participation from other DAO members will be a little bit more organic. Like they'll be there because they're interested in things that are going on, and not just because, like I checked the snapshot and what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to have like something something common to work with, and as you
Right.
say, in the future, I could imagine a process where we have like polls, and the results of the polls get pulled into our like already sections of the proposal itself. So the polling will decide, so to speak, about the wording of the proposals, and and also this could happen on chain and should happen on chain. But there has to be something there, so as to everybody can point to something and say, okay, this is what we are speaking about. Yes. Yeah. So it's
So like, for example, can we apply this right now to the I wanted to ask you just on the call. I know I talked about a little bit about it in the DMs, but just as an example, we have in 3 days the proposal from Maxi Crouton to renew as DAO Treasure. That's going to be ending soon. It's at 50% quorum, I think. Yeah, 54% right now. So like, where does that leave us? We just left without a treasure, and then kind of where do the responsibilities fall in the event that we no longer have a treasure?
Yeah, well, as we said, if we read it very strictly, I think it was your proposal. Not sure which number it was. I think 138 or 37 that limited the role and the office of the treasurer to like 1 term, or until the election of new signers, and that's already passed. But I think as we are paying a role of treasurer, and as now Maxi Crouton is actively working in this role, it exists, but it is not like backed fully by by our constitutional frame. Constitution, yes, but not our active proposals. Yeah, so that's something to add. And also for the future, to make it like something that stands on firm ground. So I have to pull it up. And what was your thinking, that maybe some change to it should be applied, or some for the next round of voting?
No, I was considering it because I was thinking about it this past week. I wanted to post a just a kind of a reminder in the DAO channel to get people to vote on that, right? But then I realized like Maxi can also post in that thing. I just hadn't talked to him, so I didn't know if he wanted that. I mean, I guess we should do it for all kind of active proposals. Like if there's a week left, why not just kind of remind people to vote on it, right? But I hesitated, so then I was like, okay, I'll talk about it on the call a little bit.
Well, I also took the liberty to make like a call to everyone regarding this proposal, because I think, it warrants it, because it's like something quite unique, the transfer of the IP, a very special moment in time in the history of Aavegotchi and of Aavegotchi DAO. So I think we should use it, of course. I absolutely agree, because we had the example, like the critique that there was not enough communication, and now we opened up this channel, and we should use it, definitely. Make it a standard, maybe 84 hours or 24 hours before a poll or proposal ends. Definitely make a reminder.
Yeah, if the standard is 2 weeks and we're at less than 50% by the end of a week, but either way, if there's a week left, that just means there's not going to be, or if it's ending midweek where there's not going to be a meeting or a call, it's kind of like, okay, if someone checks the Discord, they'll at least see this message, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, the thing I was just thinking about is that what does that mean for the DAO, like without a treasure? And that's kind of where I guess that's where my hesitation came in to just post about it. It seems kind of silly now. Like in retrospect, I should have just posted it anyway. And like if people have voted, they just will ignore it. If they haven't, they'll be like, okay, I'll go cast my vote. But abstaining is kind of a vote sometimes too. And I just, in this specific case, I don't know what that means. Like, are you saying, because there hasn't really been any discussion around that. Like Maxi posted his thread, he posted his reasonings, and there was no kind of pushback to it. If you contrast it with something like facilitators, some people said we don't need facilitators. Like, we'll do it on a volunteer basis. If there's no calls at all, that's cool too. Like there were a lot of different opinions, but there weren't really any opinions on whether or not we should have a treasure. That's all I was thinking about. So I was like, okay, well, how do you bring this up? What does it even mean if there is no treasure? Like, who does the responsibilities of a current treasurer fall upon? Is that like the duty of the signers now?
Well, depends on yes. What are the indispensable functions of a treasurer, or what do we expect from the role of the treasurer, right?
Right.
That's because something. Well, of course, the operation of the multisig, that's on the signers. That's correct. Yeah. So everything that is now done easily by Maxi would have been done, probably a bit more painstakingly by someone other. Yeah, that's correct. So that's one thing, and I just wanted to look at the percentage that's now at 58.7%, and that's 4.2 million. So at 10% quorum, just to mention it, would have been reached already in this case. Yeah, and one could argue that such governmental roles or bureaucratic votes could pass with 10%. I could imagine. So in a proposal that I would post, I could differentiate between these sections to reiterate which kinds of votes belong to which quorum tier. So what would you say? Would be 10% in this case all right? If we repeated that, if we had already the option to vote with like, how much is it? 3.6 million of the votes?
I mean, I think the distinction would be in what kind of proposal it is. So like if you're saying that if it's been established one way or another, through the prop that created the role, if you establish that this is like fundamental to the foundation, then it's like, okay, we need someone to fulfill this role. And then you take into consideration that Maxi had put up the thread, right? There was a discussion there. He was like inviting anyone else who would also like to apply for the role to make it official in the thread. Nobody did that. Then he proceeded with his SIG prop to like essentially to get himself reelected, which is fantastic. Now it's like, okay, there's this role that needs to be fulfilled, and status quo, the way it was, is Maxi was filling the role, and he would like to continue doing such. Now, when you put it in that context, it's like, I don't think it's as heavy, and doesn't necessarily require the 7.2 million of quorum if it were someone creating an entirely new role.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. If it would be something completely new, then that would require some change that would alter something. But this is like a confirmation, a continuation, and in the I also also posted in the long text I posted. Yeah, a continuation vote would certainly require less.
Yeah, I agree with the idea completely. I wouldn't know how to come up with those numbers, or even what category it would fall under in those three that you made in your questionnaire.
Well,
So like
I
that's
would,
kind of why I wanted to see more of the DAO's opinions on like what do you consider a big vote, and what do you consider a medium tiered vote, and what do you consider a small vote. You know, because this would, if we're talking about it being less than the full one, this would either be medium or small, right?
correct. So
But yeah, I'd need, yeah, I mean, I'd love to, for me to even make a decision on that, I would love to hear the opinions of literally everybody else who would chime in.
we
See the
could
kind of
we
the
could
pros
make it.
and
There was
cons of
also,
either of them.
I mean, now, yeah. There was also the idea to that the author of the proposal would also state the quorum tier. Yeah. I would say I would make it 2 tier, or let's make it 3 tiers, like small, really cosmetic changes, mid tier, something, yeah, that has to be filled, yeah, like a role, something that is already established but has to be confirmed. And then, of course, Galaxy votes, the big changes to the protocol, changes to the contracts, that would have to be confirmed with the full vote. And if you state it already at the beginning, so you also would like kick off the discussion about that, you know. Maybe the
Exactly.
author,
Yeah.
yeah, the author writes that's like a 10% vote, but maybe he has overlooked something, and then someone would point out, oh no, and the discussion would ensue, and in this way we would get, it sharpened through time, because not everything is contentious, but maybe some things are, and opening up to discussion, and it would be like a, a new point, yeah, to, as you state, yeah, your name and your title and your topic, you would also state the quorum tier it belongs to.
It leaves the option open for abstaining as well, and like just being able to explain that abstain in form of, well, I don't even agree that this is what tier this specific
Yeah.
proposal falls under.
But as
I'm sure you would see a bunch of those comments in the snapshot.
yeah, that would be interesting. That would be a very
Yeah.
interesting input, because that would necessitate everybody who's commenting on it to think about, yeah, what does it mean? What consequences does it have? But one thing is clear, that what Immaterial writes here, that the first vote, the vote about quorum tiers, is of course a Galaxy vote, is of course a vote that necessitates the full 7.2 million. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
absolutely correct. Yeah, because one would, I think, rightly argue that this is a major change. And of course, as I see, Foreign writes, or writes a number. This would also be like a discerning point or a discerning measure for the tiers. There are several, like we already talked about it also with PG, possibilities how to define the tiers, and one would also be how much is the pay of a role, how much is the funding of a project, how much is the budget of a thing. Until a certain amount, it would be one tier, and over that or under that, another tier. The quorum tiers, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this screenshot here from yeah, it's a good point.
Different versions of of calculating it. You know, you are writing here. I think VRDev came up with a slightly different calculation, and I myself made also a calculation and also came up with slightly different numbers. So that would be also something. Let's see, what do you write here? 27 million VP that is eligible to vote.
Yeah, so in total, there's 42 million VP on base, but then you take away the DAO-owned assets of around 15 million ghosts, and you end up with 27 million VP that is eligible to vote. So 20% quorum is 5.4, 10% quorum is 2.7, 5% quorum 1.35.
Would be 5.4, yeah. But of course, we have now through AGIP defined the 7.2 as fixed, but we in this AGIP, I remember it's about one year old, we also defined it as preliminary, as something that will have to be revised after. Remember, it was shortly before we migrated to base, and we acknowledged right back then that it will be necessary to recalculate it after the migration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like in the messages you said, just a reminder from the last time we were on a call together was that, or I think it was actually 2 weeks ago, where I was just asking you if there were any updates on the results of the questionnaire.
On the surveys, no, unfortunately not. The second survey was a bit more just a testing ground for myself, and I will make future surveys or polls much more shorter, concise, and on a certain topic. So I imagine like only 4, 5, maybe 6, 7 questions, and yeah. But I can imagine, yeah, for the next proposal to also start the process with such a proposal. But there are no new, unfortunately, no new results in that regard.
Yeah,
But I
mean,
I can repost them.
We did go over them. In fairness, it was a bit lengthy. So like maybe those whatever 29 questions they were can be reduced down to the most important ones, or like be combined to the most important ones, and then have anywhere from 3 to 10 examples just to see like if it were left to the individual, which category would they put each of these kind of proposals in.
Yes.
It'll give us a better idea about like where the DAO stands on this whole idea to begin with, but then also what's their opinion on these specific types of proposals. How big of changes are we talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough,
Okay.
man. I think the only way to actually get any kind of feedback is to post something, as we've been kind of repeating over and over. Yeah.
Absolutely, and yeah, there has to be something there, and the polls have to be. I mixed some topics together in the last two polls, so that's also not something. Yeah, that useful. So this is this, and there was there another proposal you wanted to take a closer look? We talked about treasurer role.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you about the post that you made in the PC DAO transition thread.
Yeah.
With the screenshots.
So also, yeah, the screenshots are the same text as what is under the link. Now I posted a renewed link that also can be commented on, and also the text can be altered. So that wasn't possible or is it readable, the first link? I thought it was readable. You could click on it and read it, but I'm not that sure. And I saw a critique that the preamble, the motivation, and summary are too long. I concur. You have to imagine I already shortened those 3 sections by about a half or 2/3, so that was even longer. Yeah, but it's not necessary. That's not like essential. Yeah, and we should maybe probably shorten the whole thing to the essential size. So it's always easier to scrap something, to just cut out, or than to create. Yeah, so better to have to choose from, and we just now take out everything that we don't want, and then we are left with hopefully the text we want to vote on.
Yeah, okay. The link itself is definitely readable. I don't think it's, I mean, I can't really, no, I can't edit it. Maybe someone sent you a request. I think it was PG that said.
In the last link, the first link isn't editable, as the data text isn't editable, but in the second link, it should be. I just didn't try. And the screenshots are just, I made the screenshots, I already have written it on the snapshot page, so just, you know, because we are used to this view, and so we can maybe more easily, imagine how it would look like.
Yeah, no, I'm clicking the new link, but I'm pretty sure it's read only.
It's again read only. Okay.
Yeah. But what I understood from PG was I don't think he was even able, he said, or at least read and comment. So I don't know if he was even able to read the first one. I mean, it's an upgrade. At least we can read it. That's good. I mean, we could have read it from the screenshot, but like whatever.
But if you visit the site, no, it's just also not editable. Moment, it is. Now it opened up. You have to click the link in the box. Then you can comment, as I see. Yes, then you can comment. I make a test comment. Let's see if you see it. I made now a test text comment, and
I think that's happening because you're it's recognizing your account as the author of this thing.
That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah. There's a way though. If he let me see.
I will keep at it. I will try again. I click share. Well, it would be interesting. PG and user default requested access, and I gave them like a coworker access. So if that should open all options, I think, and anybody can request it. If that is the only way, then I gladly do everybody single.
It's okay. So they're confirming in the chat that they weren't able to read it at first, but now they are. So that's the main issue, I guess, has been settled. But I did want to ask you about the comment that VR Dev made in there too, because I don't think you replied to him yet. But
right now,
he said, he just said, I think you should add some language in there regards to AGIP 133. Strictly addressing only the IP and not the operational expenses in this new proposal is a smart choice, but given the language in AGIP 133, this might simply be them fulfilling their obligation. So
you just read.
This whole proposal would exist because of AGIP 133. So I couldn't help but agree with the fact that like it needs to be mentioned in there somewhere. What do you think about that?
Well, we have from the set on. I coded and clarified last time, right? That on the one side we have the proposal about the IP transfer, and all the operational stuff will be in another proposal. So I think if mentioning AGIP 133 in one of those two, it would be more apt to mention it in the operational. Wouldn't you say? I don't think that it has a place now in the IP proposal. Well, and then it is the question if it has a place. What do you want to refer to from AGIP 133? What concrete sentence? So in this case, in what way? What do we want to have mentioned, or what do we want to decide on? Or improve on regarding 133, because I didn't quite understand. I wanted to speak about it at the call. That's why I didn't answer in writing, because I wasn't quite sure what is meant by the comments, and so I wanted to ask, all of us, an open
I mean,
question.
the fact that the whole idea of transferring or this transition itself exists because of Agab 133. That's on a surface level. That's why it should be mentioned there.
Well, I don't see it like that. Is that? Yeah, I have to put.
That's what I thought he meant. I mean,
Okay. Well, that's debatable. Yeah. I would see it as something that is like from the onset. I understood like the whole project as having the goal or a milestone of transferring more and more rights and capabilities, and also at some point the IP. But of course, we should mention it in some way. Where does it stem from? Yeah.
I thought it was
tried-
just that, was it? I could be wrong, but I mean, was there ever talk before Agab 133 about transferring IP?
We would have to look into the foundational texts, in these first forum posts or blog posts. I was under the impression that yes, that, and I also like in the preamble. If you read it, I try to express it in that way, that this is a part of the roadmap that was envisioned from the get-go, that in the final stage of metamorphosis or oasis, there would be like everything controlled by on-chain by the DAO or the foundation. Do we have it here?
I see VR Dev is in the audience. I didn't think he was in here, but he's here. So like, yeah, if you could just at least clarify, maybe you have an answer to that question, because I don't. I thought this was completely new territory since Agap 133. But
I see.
yeah, I mean, VR, you wrote the comment, so if you could elaborate a little bit, that would be cool. We would appreciate it.
Yeah, very much so.
Let's see. Agab 133 mentioned that the IP was collateral for the 3 mil if Pixelcraft ceased to exist. It seems prudent to mention that this transfer is happening due to new decentralization goals and not a signal that PC is off the hook.
Okay. Yeah, but also such a language does not have directly. Well, okay, let me see.
Oh, and not a signal. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, strictly, I addressed it. That's a section in the proposal that this is not about operational expenses. And fulfilling their obligation according to Egypt 133. Yeah, which obligation is that? And then there is a quote. That's the IP is there referred to as an additional level of security. Well, that's like a function, an additional function of it. And the question is but that's not the case. If we now transfer the IP with the upcoming proposal, this special case, will never come to pass, right?
Can you repeat that, please?
This section that VR Dev photoshopped of Egypt 133. I read it. That's from That's from Egypt 133. As an additional level of security, we that's Pixelcraft, I think, also commit to transferring the ownership of the Aavegotchi IP to Aavegotchi DAO in the event That's for the event. So in the case that Pixelcraft Studios is unable to continue operation. So that's a very special case of insolvency or something like that. That's not the case now, because what we want to do is a transfer, just a transfer of the IP, of the trademarks, and yeah, and separate it from operational decisions.
I'm a bit confused about what we're talking about now, to be honest. Like I
think
my
still
issue
about
was
Egypt 133, about the
Yeah.
relationship between Egypt 133 and the upcoming proposal regarding the transfer of the IP and brand. So SIGPROP IP transfer. That's how I call it.
So in your opinion, you don't think that this has anything to do with, or like it's
No.
not related to Agip 133?
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't see the connection. But you know, that's one view, or it's like such a special case that is, in which context it is mentioned in Egypt 133. The IP is mentioned there like a I don't know, collateral, or like a safety.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a special case. And this case is not. That's not the case now, you know. So therefore, I don't see why mentioning.
Visitor saying if the IP transfer SIGPROP can't meet quorum before Pixelcraft ceases operation, the IP will be transferred as per Agip 133.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. But now, yeah, we have a regular, not forced transfer, but a voluntary. That's the point. We are now with the SIGPROP are voluntarily deciding that we want to take over as Aavegotchi DAO IP. Yeah, I'm referring to Egypt 50. Egypt 50 was the Egypt constituting the foundation. And there was also outlined, you know, the process of decentralization and the transfer of the intellectual property, as I remember it, has been a part of this process.
But as Foreign points out, she says, but they have said they are not ceasing and not posting props. So it's like, what are we to assume then? That this is, I mean, this is happening now as a result of 133, or it's just a random kind of change of heart?
Is that a question to Foreign?
I mean,
or?
no, I'm trying to understand it. You know, where do we stand, kind of thing. And like, yeah, should, you know, in that case, should Agip 133 kind of be mentioned in the in this draft that you put up? It's happening in contradiction to Agip 133.
So to speak, yeah. Well, not really contradiction. As I see it, Egypt 133 speaks of a very particular case of circumstances. That is the insolvency of the developer studio. In which case, yeah, the IP would be transferred automatically. Yeah. So, but it's also not a change of heart, because well, I have to pull it up from Egypt 50 what is the sentence there. But if anybody would want to have it mentioned, then I would kindly ask for like a sentence or two, or like an expression of how to refer to it.
Yeah, please. VR Dev. That's actually why I tagged you. I don't know if you were listening earlier.
Right.
He's saying now, of course, we cannot know if it is connected. Only PC knows. Is it voluntary, or is PC seeing it as fulfilling AGIP 133? Their business
Well,
year ends next month, and who knows how much time they have to file. So we really have no idea about their finances right now. We can only see how they stood last year, July 31st.
yeah. But I would like see it separately. The question of PC's finances is in this our case, in this version of the IP transition proposal, not relevant.
Fair enough. I mean, a bunch of people are typing right now.
Yeah. It's good. Because as simple as possible,
Yeah, let me just post a link to the PC DAO transition thread. That's where this was happening. Yeah, I thought, as I just explained, that's what I thought. That's why I agreed with VR Dev's comment, and I was just wondering why we hadn't there wasn't really any follow up to it. So I was just, since I had you here on the call, I just wanted to ask about it.
Right. There was also not only it was a question directed at me, or a request, but I didn't follow up on it because I wanted to speak about it,
Nice,
and
yeah.
but also everybody else. I invite now everybody else who wants to have it mentioned. It's our proposal, So
Right. Yeah,
and-
the opinions are welcome. Basically, we need them to kind of refine everything.
Exactly, and it's like a composite. It's a composite of all our views in some way. So yeah, no, your view might be better apt to be put into some words that that can be also agreed on and voted on. Yeah, I just don't see it. Yeah, mhm.
VR Dev says if it's not relevant, then PC could simply make a statement that it is not relevant. I just think it's worth addressing them giving up what they promised as collateral for the 3 million. So then giving it up right now, not really asking for anything in return, makes me wonder. Maybe I'm too much of a sus butterfly. All right.
Yeah, that's also, I think, the the doubting and skeptical viewpoint is also a valuable viewpoint.
Of
I
course it is,
understand
yeah.
it. Yeah, I understand it as such, and that's also a good point, a good view to have, and not in exchange as. I'm just reading now through Egypt 50. Well, all governance should in the end be transferred to Abegochi DAO or the Abegochi DAO Foundation. So that includes, as I understand, also the IP. And in this sense, the intended transition stems from, what is it, 2022, from the year 22 already.
I mean, you could argue that, but you could argue the other way too. That like,
That's one
does
good
IP
viewpoint.
fall under governance or not? Yeah. Like.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because as Bin Laden pointed out, correctly, it is an economical factor. It's you could argue it's a central economical factor, and as such, it is very much at the core of the business, or at the core of many operations and processes that that should be in the end governed by the DAO. So I have to pull up what our comments. I didn't now. So
I'm just looking through the comments as well.
Mhm. Yeah, their viewpoint. That's the question. If we should take into account, it's it's our AGIP. It's a DAO intention, and the intent of another entity. Well, it's appreciated, of course, but yeah, it's also up to us if we want to consider it or not.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Fair enough. I mean, the thread is there. I might be misunderstanding. So like, I'd love to read what you guys have to say about it. I mean, we got a little bit of it here, which is nice. The other
There's a-
thing was, oh yeah, go ahead.
No. The last point, Coder Dan also now commented, and he, as I understand the post now by Coder Dan, so to omit. The last thing we want is a situation where PC is totally out of funds and the transition hasn't happened yet. Okay, so 133 would be like a safety for this situation. Yeah, that's how I understood it. So we are proactively initiating. Okay, and now we are proactively initiating the IP transfer. Says Codedent, says Pixelcraft, plus the transition to hopefully have a smooth transfer. Again, yes, a transfer that is voluntarily smooth, not rushed or hushed or something, and just overviewable and reproducible, understandable by everybody. That's I just saw this comment, so that I wanted to mention that too.
Fair enough. Maybe one other thing that we could talk about in this thread was there was I mean, we've been discussing it vaguely, kind of like just brainstorming ideas, but and there was a suggestion from PC, I guess, in the document that Jesse posted. But there was a question a couple of days, or it was today actually, from Andy. It said he was asking kind of. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. This was the follow-up. He said, so at what point do we need to start organizing as a DAO? There are a lot of things to hand over, but the main point I've seen discussed so far is the IP. We need to start thinking about what happens to the Discord, Twitter accounts, etc. for communications. Does it make sense to set up a transition task force of DAO members? I just wanted to touch on that a little bit while people are here and while you're here as well.
Yeah.
Just maybe some of you have had a chance to look at the document from Jesse, but like, do people have ideas about this? Has anything been discussed? Like, have you thought about it at all?
What was new
What needs
for
to
me,
be done?
if I shall kick it off, that's like the second part of the transition. The one is the IP, and the other transition part is like the operational part that requires, of course, the assuming of certain functions and responsibilities and actions by certain people, like maybe as proposed 3 roles. And what I wanted to highlight and emphasize in this case is the idea of the slate, that it should be, as I understood Jesse's words, that it should be a team, like a team of 3, for example, or 2, or like a team that will take over. So as I understood it, not to vote per the single roles each and everyone in particular, but to vote a slate, as I understand slate like a roster, if I understand it correctly, like a team of 3. That was something new for me.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a big responsibility. I mean, I don't know what it kept mentioning, at least in the blog post, it kept saying something about like, the DAO will decide on compensation, if any. And it just seems like a weird thing to kind of be like, okay, there's people that need to fill these roles immediately, but you may or may not be compensated, and that's up for the DAO to decide. So now it's like, okay, someone needs to come up with the roles. That needs to be agreed upon. A compensation needs to be agreed upon. There's a lot of factors to it. So it's like, where do you kind of start with that? How do you decide who takes control of like what channels specifically?
Yeah.
Is there's
yeah. Mm-hmm. Pardon. Sure.
I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No. I don't want to interrupt you. It wasn't finished yet, right? Where do you start with that? You said, and well, it's not the definitions, but the real what's necessary practically to running like a Discord server, for example. There has to be some monitoring, I guess, and some daily actions that have to be taken to safeguard the functioning of the thing. Very like generally speaking. And if you then call it public relations, or if you call it social media, or the role itself, okay, that's like a label, but someone has to do it. And well, our compensation scheme will be different than the ones PC had, of course, and we will decide on it. Yeah. We will have to decide on it, yes. But first, what are the 3 proposed roles? If we look into that proposal, if you have it in front of you, I have to pull it up.
Yeah, sure. Let me. It said here's a potential sig prop for the 3-team or 4-team slates.
Slate.
It is a fully fleshed version of the above mentioned operations team concept. Everyone is welcome to use some, all, or bits of this drafted language if it is found helpful in moving elections forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's talking about the draft sig prop. It's called establish initial operational stewardship structure for Aavegotchi.
Mm-hmm. So
this
returning to
proposal recommends creation of an Aavegotchi stewardship team elected as a 3 or 4 role slate, direct confirmation of Lutuja as initial finance lead, a defined window for teams to organize and submit slates.
Mm-hmm.
Like submit teams, it says submit teams by July 15, for example.
Yeah. A
6-month initial term followed by review, 12-month terms thereafter, unless changed by later proposal or recall vote. And it just talks about each submitted slate. Aavegotchi stewardship team, each submitted slate must include product lead, technical lead, communications lead. And then it kind of has the role scopes for each of the mentioned leads. I just haven't really heard anything from anyone about this. So this is just kind of a way to bring it up. Like when Andy typed that, I was like, okay, there's people that are thinking about it at least. Yeah, and Material says that proposal from Jesse was just a suggestion. I'm putting together a proposal at the moment for the battler team to handle the stewardship and operations. Other teams are free to do so as well. Right. So there was the idea of the battler team, I guess, kind of filling those roles and not much else.
Well, yes. So that would be like the first example of that. I think
Yeah.
that's an experienced team already. And well, maybe immaterial. Okay, we will see that then in the proposal, right? How it is labeled, how the roles are labeled, and what's like the terms and the scope and so on. But I think it's a good idea to make it teams of 3 or 2 or 4 or 4, I think. But there was some comments on that concretely, I think, by a visitor, wasn't it? I have to look. Our transition.
Yeah, and as he's mentioning here, the proposal is complicated. There's a lot of ground to cover, and I don't have much free time at the moment, so it's taking a while. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it is. That's the thing. Is like the reason I'm bringing it up now here is just to get you know, like if you're active in this Discord alone, if you see yourself as someone who's like, wait, I can, you know, help at least manage this, or like I can, even if you looked at the document that we were just talking about, the draft, if you've looked at that and felt like, you know, I can do some of this, I can do most of this, whatever. I know, you know, I can organize with friends that I have in this community to do all of it. Fantastic. But that's kind of just what I'm trying to get a little bit of a feel for here, I guess, by asking the question. When I read Andy's question, it reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, like, okay, so it's not just this clean thing where like IP is transferred over. Okay, congratulations, now go. You know what I mean? There has to be some kind of systems in place to just kind of maintain everything and
Yeah.
or like revitalize everything even. Yeah.
So to speak, right? And it's a good thing that it is separated. The one is right, like really, like a contractual stuff, and with the IP transition, and the other is a really operational stuff where you put, someone in charge of something that has to be done regularly on a regular basis. But where do we find it? Is it a forum thread?
Which one? What are you asking about? Sorry.
Where have you read this proposal?
Oh no, it was just a question posted in that same thread, the PC DAO transition thread.
Yeah, I just lost it. That's why I'm asking.
I'll post a link to it again. No problem.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, if you just scroll up, it's right there.
Thank you. There it is.
Yeah, it was actually the only mention I've seen of it since the thread that was started by Immaterial, kind of talking about stewardship.
Yeah.
There's talk about, I'm just looking at the chat here. There's a message from Cody down that says, we have no intention of selling the IP, but if the DAO continued dragging its feet endlessly for a long period of time on accepting the transfer, I suppose we'd have to consider it. But it's definitely not the plan.
Yes, that's somehow understandable, I think. Yeah.
Didn't we kind of have this? Didn't this kind of come up with the whole Rongming saga? Like, how do you sell something that is part of collateral on a loan already? I think that came up before during the Rongming back and forth. Like people, I think it was No Future. Somebody brought it up. I kind of had the same question. I was waiting for somebody else to say it. That's how I remember. The debt would have to be sold with the IP and transferred to the purchasing party. At this point, we don't really have the funds to fight this in court or the organizational capacity. Interesting. Yeah, that's news to me. Like I didn't know that was the thing. Potential selling of the IP before a transfer, or if the transfer is delayed for whatever reason. I mean, I don't think it's being delayed at all. In fairness, like this is relatively new, and Nestor already you're drafting the proposal as we speak. Like that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, but we all have to like potentially add to it and propel it forward. So, but it just in the case of that it nobody touches it and would go about it, then of course would someone would have to do it. This is how I understand the comment. But as you say, we are on it. It's now the first half month of 3 months of transition period. But yeah, now we are. We could.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about things to talk about today. I mean, it's literally the only kind of thing being discussed at all to any extent in the discussion, in the DAO discussion right now, right? And the things pertaining to it. So like the Andy's question that we were just talking about, it's also in that thread. Like everything that's being discussed, if anything, right now in the Discord is about this transfer. So, I mean, I don't think it's being delayed.
No.
Yeah.
No. I would also say, okay, Jesse posted this 2 weeks ago, but I think that's right about time. That was completely fresh, and now, you have to read through something and then sleep over it and think about it, and yeah. So we could talk about those 3 roles. That would be also a possibility how to approach it. And as we read through this proposal, of course, the motivation is, we already mentioned that, day-to-day stewardship. I think day-to-day you have to do some things. For example, if we have if we think about what Bin Laden said last week, with the idea of posting short videos every day. The emphasis is every day and posting, and somebody has to be in charge of that, and somebody has to be to take this on every day. And that would be like, is it now a product lead or is it a communications lead? Well, that's like, a labeling thing.
Yeah,
But
there seems to be some back and forth on people wondering why PC didn't just kind of post the transfer proposal themselves.
No, that wouldn't be possible. That proposal has to be done by us, by the DAO. I think that's out of question, that them posting the proposal. That would defy.
They drafted it though. That's the point that's being made. Is like the draft was made by them, so it's like they kind of drafting it and then saying like, "Hey, do you agree with this? Go ahead, post it yourselves."
Well, but as Jesse wrote the introduction, this is something that can be used. Yeah, it's like an inspiration. This is how it could look like. That's like, I see this as a as a little helper, so to speak. But I think you could also concoct this like with your favorite LLM. Don't feed it with this proposal, but tell it, we need a transition team or a stewardship team. There was and hold it very generally. Maybe I will write such an prompt just to try it out, what it spits out. But I think it will be something like that. You will have to have roles that are defined and are
Nestor, What? Hey guys, what's up?
Lagging.
What is it? What is it? What's up, man? I just want to, because the chat is going too quick. What does it take to get this prop done? And why don't we just do it? Because
You mean the operational or or both?
whatever, just transferring the IP to the DAO, because like that shouldn't be a
Well,
big issue.
let's decide on what has to be cut out from what I have written, yeah, and then we can post it like in the next 24 hours or 48 hours, and have it as SIG prop, voted on. So I would very much, yeah. That was the intention of me posting it at the beginning of the week, that we have the week to think about it. Now we are speaking about it. And if we say, okay, in this form, it could be used, because still we have the final core proposal, you know. So I see it, the SIG proposal time is also a thinking time. So what do you say? Should we something add? Should we shorten it?
Can you link what you wrote? I think you.
Yeah,
you-
it's
you
in that
put-
thread. It's here.
It's also in the thread, right?
Yeah. And
Yep.
then question for Coder Dan, how long do we have to drag our feet on this? I mean, it sounds like you're giving us a deadline without giving us a deadline, you know? Can we talk about that?
well.
Like, when is the actual deadline for us to get this done before you guys start considering selling the IP?
Well, I mean, I think we should set ourselves. We have these 3 months, but if we are like in 3 months, if we are right in the middle, then I think nobody would then urge us to stop, you know. But if like nothing or too little happens in these 3 months, as I interpret it, then yeah, that would be like some deadline taking effect. You know what I mean? So I don't think you
because
should.
another thing is reaching quorum is another issue right now as well, right?
Yes,
And so
it
if this
is,
all
it
depends
is.
on us reaching quorum, then it's not like a case of us dragging our feet necessarily.
Yes, but okay, let's discuss it right now. I think the transfer of the IP and that should be a galaxy vote, like full quorum necessary. I think that's my
Right.
opinion.
I was gonna ask about that, but I left it.
Yeah. But that's a legitimate question. But I will also in this week make a SIG prop for that, for the quorum tiers. Yeah, and like make a proposal to vote on. But I think the IP transfer should be with those full 7.2 million. So what do you think?
I mean, make it 0.2 million if we need to get it done in
I
time.
see.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a deadline attached to it.
Get it.
I mean, I'm down for 7.2 million, but is it going to pass?
Yeah. I see what you. Yeah, I see.
It's the most contentious issue we're dealing with currently, so I think it would pass. And if if not, it would definitely just be reposted until it did pass. Like we've seen this a couple times in the last year, where something, I think you mentioned it earlier, Nestor. I think it was the multi-sig election where we were like off by 0.1% or something.
Yeah.
Like it was 99. So yeah, it just needed literally one vote to kind of push it over, and it didn't happen the first time around. But as soon as it was reposted, it was harped on for a good 2-3 weeks on these calls. It went through eventually. And if that's the only thing, if it's like literally halting everything that's trying to be done in the DAO, then it's going to be the only thing for people to actually vote on. And if that doesn't reach quorum at that point, it'll be a whole other bag of worms to deal with. But I think again, it's just the most contentious. It's the most like important thing that's happening at the moment, and all things that are going to happen after that rely on this. So
wait. Do I understand you correctly? If you say contentious, do you mean they are differing opinions? Because
yeah, probably a bad choice of words. My bad.
No.
I just meant important. Yeah, you're right. It's not as contentious as it would be like, if there is any contention, then that will be brought up in the discussion. But I just meant like, bad word choice.
No, not that. Because I think in the case of something contentious, that's not bad.
It drives the discussion. Yeah.
Itself, but then you maybe, well, you would have to think about quorum differently. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
If something is like, if there is, yeah, how to define it? I think.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I'm sorry for the word.
Okay.
Yeah,
No. I'm sorry because I don't just want to make sure as a non-native speaker that I understand correctly.
no, you're
Well,
right
the
on.
Yeah.
non-native
Yeah.
speaker is speaking better than you, Face.
What it means. But
Excuse me, better word than you.
but you could argue with this IP transition that it has to happen anyway. So it's like built into the structure from the beginning. So I could see me argue in a way that there is only like a little. The middle quorum tier, like the 10% of 3.6 million quorum tier necessary for that, and not the 7.2. It is a major point in history, but it is something that should and would happen anyway. So to speak, only if it is contentious, like really 50-50, and it is difficult to discern where the DAO really stands on it, then okay. But
Nestor,
if
let me
that's
cut in for 1 second. The only issue, and I think Immaterial brought this up, is that we have to pass a prop to be able to have those different tiers in the first place, right?
yes, I will.
So that's going to take a month on its own.
Mm.
Why not just put all our bullets into making the main prop pass at 7.2 million instead of getting the tier 1 passed and then going back? That's going to be another 2 months. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I will make this the priority, for the next proposal I post in the coming
I
hours.
think we just go for it and see what happens, and then
Yeah.
take it from there.
You're right.
I mean, what's the like? I mean, let's say like it gets down to like the deadline. We don't know when it actually exists, but let's say months drag on, and then we still never did the post that that creates those tiers. What would happen if somebody just said, "Okay, guys, like it comes down to the DAO signers, right, to decide." Like, I could put up a post today and put quorum at like 1 ghost if I wanted to, right? Couldn't someone do that, or is that technically not possible?
That would defy I mean that you would you take it seriously? It would be like a test,
Yeah, but if the thing was about let's transfer the IP ownership from Pixelcraft to the DAO, because if we don't get this done now, they're gonna go
that's a good
sell it off
question.
type thing.
Yeah.
Like if it gets to that point, couldn't we just,
Mhm.
I mean, just playing devil's
Well,
advocate here, but couldn't we do it?
That's a good question. Yeah. Is it just a formality? That's what I hear you asking. Is it just like a formality,
Yeah.
or is it really something that has to be or should be considered in detail and in depth by the members?
If I was a DAO signer, I would, and that was the case, where we were getting down to the
Yeah.
wire, and it was like Pixelcraft is like, "Yo, take the IP. I don't want it. Like, if you don't take it, I'm gonna go sell it." I'll be like, "Okay, guys, let's make Quorum 1 million Ghost," and I would sign it. I mean, in that case,
Yes.
I would
If you
rally other people to do the same.
that's you picture it. You're describing it. Yeah. Right. If it were really down to the 9 signers, and I would sign it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how I see it. I would have to have like grave arguments against it, to consider not signing it. Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about signing. Like thank you, Vera Dev. He said, "What would there be to sign?" Like this is a weird kind of example, just because what would the 9 like the signers sign off on transactions? So like this, it's something
Well,
on chain that's happening. So
essentially, there is a passage in the prop. There's only one signature necessary as of now, because there is only one, as of now, one signing director. That's me. So it comes down. I have to put my signature onto the paper. Yeah, like what stays at the lawyer's office, like physical, so to speak. It's also digital, but like in the name of the foundation. But I also direct or make this decision only on the basis of of the group of the whole, or as much opinion or as much voices as possible.
so I mean, it's being repeated a little bit in the chat right now.
Why
How
do we
Curly
need a
Fry says
proposal
if
to receive the
yeah,
IP?
if
Can't
Pixelcraft doesn't
just
want
send
the
it to the
IP,
DAO entity on the chain?
Legal.
I mean,
genau.
Quarterdown is right here. Speak up.
Well, a backup. Yeah, well, somebody has to like with the market maker. You know, I had to sign the contract. There is a contract between the foundation and Skynet, and there two of the Skynet directors are on it, and our director, yeah, me. So that was the binding contract between Skynet and the foundation, and a similar contract would there be between, yeah, like Pixelcraft and the foundation, I guess. Send what you can't send an IP like you send tokens, right? Correct. There has to be a signed document correctly. Well, it would be imaginable that it is multi-signed too, right? But that's depending on the jurisdiction, or I don't know if IP laws and like are on blockchain as of now already.
Curly Fry says, so then it needs to be clear then if it's transferring to fulfill the loan or if they're still on the hook for the loan repayment.
Okay, that's another topic, yeah. That has to be defined, you know. I have to say honestly, I don't understand, you know, because a loan is like a very precise term, isn't it? I mean, in financial, in the financial world.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and it's like a contract. Yeah. A loan is a contract. If I borrow money from the bank, you know, I have to sign through several stuff with a lot of small printed text, leaving very little wiggle room for, you know, any misinterpretation, or yeah, every case is like considered. There's no future.
Yeah,
right?
I was just looking.
It's threatening.
Musashi said, what would you all do with the IP if the DAO does not accept it? Not that the DAO should care at this point, but I'm curious.
Yeah, well, yeah, just as a hypothetical or an anti-hypothetical, of course. Then it would be PC would be left with the decision about it, or well,
Fair enough. I mean, I guess at this point, if you guys have questions that you want to direct at PC, you should probably put them in that thread just so that they'll be there in text. And you know, if they don't get answered throughout the week, we could bring them up again on these calls. But I mean, to reach some kind of understanding before posting the final version of the proposal that Nestor has already began to draft, and before signing any agreement, you know, like just kind of make sure we're all on the same page. At least there has been some discussion here today. Awesome.
yes.
Yeah, but like again, just like keep it up, or like if you feel like you didn't get that questions answered here to any like your satisfaction, then please post them in the thread just so that we'll have them there as things to consider for the final version of this proposal.
Yeah, but as we are talking about it, the proposal in the end, the co-proposal will, so to speak, direct me to underwrite, yeah, the directors or the one director to underwrite the papers for the transfer of the IP. That's the proposal, yeah, in the final version. So that's how I understand it. And what Hot Curly Fry writes, I think that encapsulates also the question from VR Dev, or the question about the relationship to AGIP 133. It needs to be clear if it's transferring to fulfill the loan. So in my view, it's 100% clear that's not the case. Yeah, and the question if there is if there is like a hook or if there is like an obligation somewhere, well, we would have to clarify that. I am not sure how to interpret AGIP 133 in that context, you know. So I think that that would have to be a separate discussion, and it's a bilateral discussion, of course. But it will also help to clarify for us what are our expectations. Yeah. That's what I meant with the definition of a loan. If I gave a loan, then I expect repayment under certain conditions. Yeah. In a certain form. And so on. With all that applies.
So what would you, I mean, just before we go, what would you recommend people do to help you with this draft that you have on right now?
Well, maybe after our discussion today, to add anything, any sentence in particular that they would like to see added. Otherwise, I don't think. What do you think? If it's 3 pages, then it's 3 pages. If it's a little bit longer with the, with the preamble and with the motivation and so, in the end, it is just, so to speak, a SIG prop that, of course, can be then taken also maybe in its entirety as a core prop. So just to add or subtract what they think fit, and on the next front, of course, the operational proposal. We should think about that, and any comments regarding Quorum, the Quorum proposal. So, like, to get hyped for it, as Bin Laden said, that we are don't use up as little time as possible for getting this over the finish line, so to have it as an instrument to just accelerate voting altogether.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with it, honestly. Like, if anything, that's the one that'll probably pass the fastest. But also, we can make an effort to, we'll post about it daily if need be, like the DAO notifications that we were talking about earlier in the call.
And just
like a daily reminder to vote for this proposal till it passes. No problem.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, you a daily reminder is something, an alarm clock, but there is a screenshot that Coda posted now. What happens on September 1st? That would be like a concrete deadline date after these 3 months. It may be that if we, the DAO, fail to approve or provide a structure, that some services will not be serviced. So if we have servers that have to be maintained, or like social media channels that have to be curated or something like that, someone has to do it, and on us.
Right.
So also here, any interest, maybe this week we hadn't had user default on stage with his progress, but I think but you are here. I think you certainly made, there is also an infrastructure, to to make what is it called? Yeah, to propose for a role. You know, I'm just not remembering the word now. You know, application. Yeah, application form to fill out an application for a certain role. I think, you know, just informally, I would like to do this. I would see myself fit in doing that. I'm interested in curating it every day, and that would also help, I think. Like showing interest in any way.
Right. Yeah. And the same goes for the stuff that's being talked about a little bit now, which is just the Discord and the socials and all that stuff. Like, you know, just in summary, like we've had a couple ideas floated around, and now this is just kind of like a call to action. Like, let's just get this thing done. So if you have any ideas about what needs to be done, or what you'd like to see be done, then please put those somewhere where we can all read it, and you know, it will be worked into whatever. Some people are saying like, why does this even need to be included in a proposal? You know, like I tend to agree with that. Like IP is one thing, but then like managing stuff, obviously there's going to be internal decision making about who handles what and stuff like that. But the proposal to just kind of hand those things over seems kind of redundant to me personally.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any ideas about how it needs to be run, and what happens after they are transferred to the DAO, like how does that even, the particulars of it being transferred? So like who gets the current, you know, login and password for
well,
a certain channel or something like that?
exactly. Well,
We,
that's very
we
particular.
need to talk in specifics at some point. Well, yeah, that's what needs to happen for things to move forward. Or if you have an idea, at least those are the things to consider, so that we don't just keep talking about things in general and kind of deal with, okay, so we need somebody to, you know, clean up the Discord server, get rid of these old channels that nobody uses anymore, moderate it, delete these spam bots, whatever. Like they're just more specific roles and what they do and who's willing to do them. Absolutely, yeah. Those things are mentioned in the draft that exists, but like let's get down to it from our side. That was the stuff that was being proposed by Jesse. If you see that there's a problem with that, then let's hear it.
That's it from our side. But I think Bin Laden wanted to say also something, also
Yeah.
about the particulars. Yes, you have a role, like it's abstract exactly, but it has a list, like a list of tasks you have to do, or you have to write an LLM for it, or I don't know. But you also have to control the LLM to make sure it does the job right, and so that's something that requires every day being behind it and look into it.
Does Pixelcraft's their blog thing that they did, does it mention anything about like the socials, or does it just talk about the IP?
Socials? That's in the
Like
operational.
like the Discord and like handing over the Discord and the Twitter and all that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it does. That's what we were talking about
does.
earlier. That's what I was reading off of.
Yeah, but does their document that they put out, does it mention like anything about that, or does it just talk about the IP and needing to make a prop to get the IP transferred over?
No, it did. Out of the leads, the 3 leads, we kind of discussed this earlier. The submitted slates, like communications lead was that covered that, I guess.
Okay.
That was at least the social media aspect of it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so it's one prop basically, and
No, that 2 props. It has to be 2 props. It is 1 prop for the IP and 1 prop for operations.
weird.
Yeah. You think weird?
Yeah, I think weird, because I don't get why you would need to do that.
Yeah, I see. That's like Face said. It's like redundant to make it for for the operations, right? That's, I mean,
Because then you can be
with
like,
the
okay, let's
IP
make another 3 props, like one for Discord, one for Twitter, one for whatever, you know? Like,
You could, right? Um, that's correct. Yeah, you could do that. But I see this. Well, in the case of the one thing, it is like only it's a
but
contractual
if like
stuff.
if an imaginary person came up and said, you know, I love Avogati DAO, I wanna give them $10 million, would we need a prop to accept it? Like, or could we just like they send it to our our wallet
If
and
you
it's there?
remember
Do we
the
need a prop
case,
to like keep it,
yeah,
or it's like, do we need a prop for every little thing, or can we just not prop some things?
good, good question. Yeah. Mhm.
I think the kind of sentiment in the chat seems to be like we need to do what we need to do to make the transfer happen, and then we can handle the specifics internally.
Yeah, like so while we figure out the internal things, the DAO signers would be the ones who ultimately have the control of the passwords and stuff like that, the username, whatever. But eventually we would figure it out on our own
Yeah,
time, not on this deadline that we have set right now.
but that would be the intent to think about it right collectively in this time frame, because maybe the DAO has like a a community idea about who should hold the passwords or how they should be held. There are also several options how to do that, and that's what I wanted to mention, the governmental framework. Essentially, it is exactly that. I think like to have a backup. Yeah, we want like this framework. We want to have these free roles. We want to pay also. That's also a topic that we didn't quite mention yet. A private company like Pixelcraft pays its workers. Yeah, if we as a DAO expect some tasks to be done, and then we have to also define, if we want to compensate it, or if we expect to do it like for the honor, and how much it is that we are willing to compensate it with. So that's something that the community, I think, will want to have a say on.
Exactly. It's another
Yeah.
prop for another day. Basically, right now, all we need to be worrying about is taking control of these
Yeah.
channels
To
and
initiate,
whatever.
start it, like make the two signal, or with the quorum as I see it, but in regards of the transition, these two signal proposals, and maybe we will put them together, I don't know, or maybe we will even make more, but let's start it with the signal proposals, I would say, because that, as we stated in the beginning phase, that will then you have something, a text to think about, to discuss about, and that will help very much.
He is leading armies into battle.
Lead us into battle, right?
So I guess a YouTube video.
Oh, I thought you were audio trolling again. Okay, cool. Thank you. So that, I mean, I guess that's that then. Yeah, we have the just don't want to keep you guys here forever. There's ideas
Yeah.
here. People asking about when is the deadline. It's hinted at, like someone said. It's kind of says by September. What happens by September 1st in that screenshot that Coded Down posted.
Mhm.
So let's aim for at least before that, right? And let's aim to have made some progress on this by the next time we have a call like this. The Discord has been kind of quiet last week, but we could change that.
Yeah.
We could just move this exact conversation into the DAO discussion channel or the specific PC DAO transition thread. All relevant forum threads there. But just let's do it, guys. I mean,
Yes.
everybody seems to have some ideas now. We kind of know where we stand. So yeah, I mean, we could at least start the process. And thank you, Nestor. I mean, you definitely already have. Don't want to,
Mhm.
just kind of ignore that. You definitely have. So yeah, let's. A
Yeah.
good starting point is just we could edit the text that Nestor has up right now.
Feel free to
And then
edit
if
it,
you wanna- yeah,
or
or
to
at least
post like,
request to edit it. Yeah.
or to take it entirely and mangle it through your LLM and or a parts of it, and
Yeah.
just say you refine this, shorten this, make it more concise, more precise, anything. Yeah, there's no yeah no copyright anything about it. But I want to just acknowledge that there came so much up now on comments. What do we have here? I saw Musashi wrote a lot. Yeah, legal document, yes. For the transferred, in the end, it will be a legal document. Correct. And so to speak, the IP transition proposal, that's so to speak an authorization by the DAO, by all the members of the director to underwrite, to make a legal signature. Yeah. So yeah, I will be authorized on behalf of us all to underwrite this. And what do we have?
Great.
Here?
I mean, I've seen a couple times. No Future was just asking about the DAO audio recordings of this meeting. Do we have a bot in the Discord still? I don't even know about that. But about the recordings moving forward, I mean, I guess that would have to do with whether the DAO chooses to even have these calls as they exist right now, if they continue. Because I don't know what happens in the event that both proposals don't pass. There's 2 facilitator props up right now. I mean, one
If
might
they
pass,
don't
one might
pass,
not. If
one
they don't,
question
though,
to you, Face.
Yeah.
If you took these 3 roles now, like product and what do we have, technical and communications, I would say the facilitators. That's I would have seen them also. Like if there were a department for public relations or for communications, the facilitators would be definitely like central part. Or, I mean, just imagine there wouldn't be any facilitators, and it would remain only one, or like let's say one lead, yeah, who could then maybe hire some other facilitators if he had a budget and so on. But that would be the communications lead, right?
I mean, it would be included somewhere in there. That's all I'm saying. Is like it's not my place to say what that's going to look like in the future. You know what I mean?
No,
People are
only
going to.
your opinion, not Lucy's side.
Right.
Just your
My opinion is just that we obviously just need to, we got 3 days for these proposals to end. When they don't end, I mean, when they end and no decision has been made, I guess that's when stuff might happen, because like legitimate ideas might come up, better ideas might come up, better system for having the calls, their frequency, who's gonna host them, record all that stuff. It'll be dealt with. I think it'll work itself out.
Okay, that's one point. But what something you mentioned it very important art is recordings. I see them as a director. I want to have these as a documentation of the workings of of our DAO and our foundation. They are like an essential document. So if now the facilitators do this, right? They take care of recording it and posting it, and well, if there are no facilitators, who does it? So I would, assign the communications lead to do this task, and yeah, I would see it as something that is essential. It has to be done every week.
Foreign makes a good point. She says the recordings are a legal foundation requirement, so they are essential.
Exactly.
Great point.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, so there, perfect. That would then need to be included in any kind of proposal that's going forward. So it gets done one way or another, like regardless of if if facilitators is still a thing or not.
That's it. There are essentials. There are essentials that we want to have. Like you said, from our perspective, we want to have, someone who does every day, check that everything is all right with the Discord, or with the different channels. And like every week, there are some things that we want to be done, or have to be done, even. And who will do that? Yeah, And but yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah.
yeah,
Just consider it, like everybody listening.
just
Great
consider.
point. Yep.
Good point.
Cool. I got nothing else.
No, that was
Anything you want to add, Nestor, before we go?
no. I think we had a broad spectrum. So thank you very much for again, Face, to you for leading through it. Very very cool. Yeah, and orienting us and our thoughts. That was really helpful for me, and I
Thank
think
you.
also the chat showed there was much engagement today. So good.
Yeah, there was. Keep it going, guys, in the threads, please. Just so it'll help the whole process. Really. One more time, I'm just going to post this DAO transition thread.
Yeah, and also Bin Laden, thank you for coming up. This is something I think there was some talk, like structure it, or I think that should be this is open always, right, for everybody who is on the call to just like come up, just open the mic, so to speak, and yeah, if you want to speak, then we will hear. There shall be room for that. Yeah.
For sure.
Or,
Yeah.
like an ad hoc question or something like that. Of course, if you want to like present something, a topic, or and want a time block, of course, that would be better to say beforehand. But I think that too. Yeah. Sometimes you have to talk. Some members we know. Their comments are a bit longer, so that also has its place.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nestor. Thank you, Bin Laden. I'm not calling you daddy, bro. It's just not happening. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Yes,
Go
have
vote
a nice
if you
weekend.
haven't. Let's see if we can potentially still pass a proposal.
Or come near at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And either way, please, just the questions and the suggestions all in the relevant channels. And if you don't want to look for them, post them in DAO discussion, man. Someone, at least you'll, bring the idea up for someone else who might then write a comment in the actual thread. It's all good. We thank you for your participation. It's appreciated.
Very much so.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep. Peace, everybody.
Bye bye.